Chester had a heat stroke, and the day this occurred, I just happened to have my camera on. And as much as it pains me to look at the footage, I think it's important for you guys to see what exactly these symptoms look like so you can make sure it doesn't happen with your dog. I apologize for the dramatic intro, but this whole thing is really serious, and heat stroke with him was something that I wasn't prepared for, neither emotionally nor financially, and I was hoping to maybe turn this experience to something positive and help others to identify when it's happening in their dog so that they don't have to go through this. So take a look at the video, let me know what you think, and hopefully it helps. So let's jump into the 5 symptoms that you need to know about in order to identify when your dog is developing heat stroke. This is such an important topic. Heat stroke is a real killer, and it doesn't actually have to be that hot. A sudden, unseasonal increase in temperature can easily cause heat stroke, even if the actual temperature is not that high. Your dog will not be acclimated, so the risk is very real. The first sign of heat stroke in dogs is heavy panting. So dogs who are active will clearly pant. Very often though, their mouths will only be half open and their tongues will hardly be showing. And they will also take breaks from panting, especially after a short rest. However, as a dog's body temperature climbs, they will fully open their mouth and their tongue will be sticking right out and may even become swollen. They will also constantly pant without any stopping, even if they've been resting for some time. And this is a sure sign that they are indeed not out of breath from exertion. They are in fact overheating and at risk of developing heat stroke. Number 2 on the list is excessive drooling. The evaporation of saliva during panting helps the dog cool down. As the body heats up, more saliva is produced. So if your dog is really drooling excessively, then this is a good sign that their body temperature is starting to climb and they are having a hard time losing the heat they need to keep cool. Okay. The third sign of heat stroke is dry red gums. When heat stroke is developing, all of the blood vessels on the outside of your dog open up and dilate, and try to encourage as much blood as possible to come towards the surface so they can lose as much heat as possible. This is best observed in the gums. Where normally they are a healthy light pink, they will turn a bright red. If your dog is becoming dehydrated, their saliva will become very thick and stringy, and their gums will go from a nice and moist pink to being tacky and dry and dark red. With this 4th symptom, things are starting to get serious. The 4th sign your dog may be having a heat stroke is vomiting and diarrhea. As the inside of your dog's body begins to heat up, their internal organs really begin to struggle, and heat stroke effectively cooks your dog. This is because the lining of the intestine starts to become damaged. So there might be some fresh blood, or if the heat stroke has developed over a long period of time, you might notice their diarrhea as being black or tar-like. And this is basically blood being present in the stool. So this is a sign that the lining of their intestines is damaged and your dog is bleeding into their guts. The 5th and final sign that you need to know in order to identify heat stroke in dogs is a change in their mental state and other nervous problems. So this might start with your dog just stopping all the time and not really responding like they normally would. In addition to this, they might also become wobbly or sway or begin to twitch or experience full-blown seizures. If this doesn't happen, they might just lie down and either refuse or be unable to get up and move. Your dog might begin to look glazed over and they might even become comatose. Now, clearly, a dog who has collapsed or begun seizuring is in a bad way and immediate action is needed. Obviously, you should act well before this stage, and if your dog is showing any signs of heat stroke, like the ones we've talked about today, then you should immediately stop what you're doing and start to cool them down quickly. This is absolutely vital to your dog's survival. If your dog is suffering from heat stroke, then calling ahead to the vet before you arrive will up your dog's chances of survival by a whopping 23%. And in the meantime, while you're getting ready to go, you might want to try and cool them down. And here's a few tips on top of that and a few items that I think might help. So if you think your dog is overheating, there's a few items that are really nice to have on hand in order to help bring their body temperature back down. And I'll link to these items below so you can, they're cheap and easy things. You can find them on Amazon. One thing you might want to have with you is a cooling towel. This is just something that helps wick liquid in, and as the liquid evaporates, provides like a cooling sensation to wherever you place it on your dog, preferably somewhere in their leg pits, front or back, underneath or behind the ears, anywhere where you can kind of secure it. If they're just laying there, then be sure to rotate around each of the under areas underneath their legs, because that's where the most blood's going to be passing through and it's going to be the hottest. In addition to a cooling towel is like a cooling collar. This one's a little bit different. If you know you're going to be out in the sun and you're going to be heading out in the sun and you're planning ahead, this is basically like a little freezer piece that you're going to put in your freezer at home, and then when it's time to go, you're going to pull it out and it's going to remain cool for, you know, up to an hour, 2 hours. And this is something you're just going to keep on your dog and tie around their neck. This is something else that is a good idea to have, and I'll have it linked below. Okay, the third thing that might help you in terms of cooling your dog down quickly, obviously, is water, right? So something like a water bottle like this one's a little bit extra cool because it has a sprayer and this part is removable. So now you have something to pour the water into for your dog to drink out of. Again, I'll link to this below. Okay, so those are the 5 signs that you need to look for if you think your dog is about to have a heat stroke. Hopefully you found some value here and was helpful. Check out the links below for any of the items that I showed you before. And there's also a link if you want to give to Chester and I to help us keep making these videos and pay for his ridiculous vet bill. That'd be helpful too. Have fun with your dog and have a great day.